Good morning, everyone. Can I have a
Good
mic check?
morning, Mr. Ansgar.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. How's my? Let me just check my visuals and audio. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yeah, the audio is good.
Okay. No echo or some echo. Any feedback?
No echo, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So sometimes, yeah, if at any point of my presentation you start hearing an echo or you cannot hear me well, please let me know.
So here's our moderator, Miss Sydney Angelbert.
Miss Sydney, I think you're still muted.
Can you hear me now? Okay, hello. Hello, everyone. Is everyone here, I guess? Okay. I guess we can start now, Mr. Schaeffer.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to this Masterclass series where Mr. Ansgar will be sharing about maximizing your digital potential using software and AI in your daily work. So, a little bit about our speaker for today, Mr. Ansgar Schaeffer. He holds a master's degree in Southeast Asian Studies from the Humboldt University of Berlin and is a certified discipline agile Scrum Master. In his previous role as an advisor to the regional program for cooperation in Tibet in Asia of the German Corporation for Development of Cooperation, he coordinated the digital working group for GIZ Vietnam and supported Tibet system in Southeast Asia to adjust to the requirement of digitalization. In his current position as the regional coordinator for Tibet at the CIMO Secretariat, he is the technical lead of the digital regional Tibet knowledge and e-learning platform for Southeast Asia. Overall, Mr. Schaeffer is very passionate about using technology and make everyone's life work easier. So today he will be sharing about his knowledge and his um, topic for about digitalization. So I guess we can start now, Mr. Schaeffer, whenever you're ready.
Okay, thank you very much for that nice introduction. And again, it's a bit loud outside, so if you have any issues hearing me at any point, let me know. Or if I need to speak a bit louder or maybe a bit slower, feel free to interrupt me. The same goes for if you have any of the students or teachers have any questions, feel free to raise your hand at any time. Um, and I hope our dear MC, Miss Sydney, will also have a help me keep a look on keep an eye on the participants if there are any questions, because of course I'm sharing my presentation, so I cannot see everything. Um, so I mean, we already covered everything in the introduction about me. Just a little bit of a background. Again, I'm working for the CMO Secretariat. Um, I do have a background in basically using digital solutions, software, and IT, but I'm by no means like an IT expert. But I'm very passionate about using anything to make my life easier, which is what today's session is about a little bit. So let me share my presentation. Let's see how that works. Okay, can you see my screen? I think it's loading right now.
Yes, Mr. We can see it.
Okay, perfect. All right. Yeah. So today's topic is the title is maximizing your digital potential, and I want to show you how to use or what kind of free software you can use during your learning, your studying, but also overall throughout your whole life, and also for your work especially. So again, my background is in vocational education, and a little bit in the software IT field. So let's first have a look. You can still see my presentation, right? You can see the agenda slide now? All right. Okay, good. For sure. So I remember when I was a student and my teachers or grown-ups were talking, wanted to tell me about any new tech or software. It was already old news for me, so I hope today is not the case for you. And I hope some of the things I will show you are new to you. If they're already familiar to you, it's actually even better. Then we can have a more detailed discussion about it. Um, but yeah, I hope it's going to be interesting for you. So we are going to start, of course, with a quick introduction. I'm going to tell you why this is such an important topic right now, why you need digital skills from forever, basically, probably. This is going to be a very important aspect of life and in your life. Like so, we're talking about personal life, but we're also talking about your work and your career and your studies. Uh, and then we're going to look at some free software you can use. We're going to talk about AI tools. I think ChatGPT should be is very trendy right now. So I think probably most of you have already heard it, but we're going to have another look into that, see what you can do, and of course we need to look into some it's called ethical use of AI. So to make sure that we are using the software and the tools we have properly because they're very powerful, um, but they can also be used misappropriately. So we're going to talk about this and also data privacy a little bit. And then at the end, you have some time to explore any of the tools presented and give some little feedback. In between, I've integrated some feedback from you. So there will be interruptions in the presentation on segments where I want to get your input. I do this through menti.com, Mentimeter. Maybe you're already familiar with this. So in between, there will be a QR code shown on screen from time to time. Either QR code or you can just go to www.menti.com and you will type in a specific code, like some numbers, and then from there you can either vote on a topic. There will be a quiz, so you can answer some questions. You can give feedback. You can have if you have any questions popping up in between, you can just write them there, and we will answer these later in the session. So what that means for you is you need to have either your phones ready to scan the QR code, or maybe be able to access another browser tab to go to menti.com and then participate this way. Of course, you can also just raise your hand and unmute your mic and give input or feedback that way. That will be even better. But I know we are quite a big crowd today, so it might be difficult from time to time. But you're all very much invited to just open up your mic and talk to me for students and teachers. All right. So let's start with the quick introduction. And that introduction is about the rise of digital skills and what that means for us. In the beginning, I had there's a lot of data out there which proves that jobs are becoming more digitalized. Our daily life is becoming more digitalized, especially during the COVID pandemic. It has been highly accelerated, and we know, like just from what we're doing today, education is using more digital tools. Our work is using more digital tools. The way we order food, the way we book any reservations, whatever we do, all aspects of life are having a higher amount of technology integration. And that means also for when we talk about our work, digital skills and working with these technologies is becoming more and more important. We need to be able to know how to utilize these for our benefit. In specific industries, we need to have very in-depth technological knowledge about how this industry works. Yeah. So if you want to make it boring, you can refer to the European Digital Competence Framework in terms of defining what skills digital skills are. They say it's confident, critical, and responsible use and engagement with digital technologies for learning at work and for participation in society. Very general, right? If you look a bit more closer, you can look into towards digital skills in two categories. You have baseline digital skills. This would be navigating meeting software, using spreadsheet like Excel or Word, having computer literacy or digital literacy, knowing where to find what information. Basically, anything that enables you to work. That's why they're called baseline. They build the foundation for your use of technology. And then you have specific digital skills. These are more like industry specific. Could be like programming languages. Could be specific industry technology. How, like, I don't know, working with drones, for example, in the agriculture system. Or you need to be familiar with a specific platform. So these are more, as the name says, specific. And the baseline skills, they build the foundation for the more advanced skills, and the baseline skills are what we are going to talk about today. So, because again, they are the foundation, they will provide you with the entry and the capacity to navigate everything further. Right. So now we would look into how this might actually impact you and especially like the future work. So overall, of course, these technologies, like the technological developments, they will have the greatest impact on routine manual jobs, right? This is, I think, widely known. Everything that's easy to automate will be automated. And so these jobs are also the ones most endangered. But there's a agreement that digitalization and technology will spread through all sectors and all industries, from logistics to retail, finance, accounting. Everything will be impacted by technology or digitalization. So on the screen, you see a survey among employers in Europe. There was a very wide survey, but it's also not only Europe, it's applicable for every part of the world. And they predict that the demand for employees in either who have in highly digitalized jobs or jobs with high computer use or jobs with the use of high robotics and digital technology will increase much further than jobs requiring a limited set of digital skills. So that's the baseline. Now, again, let's look at how this how this trend towards digitalization and automation is transforming the job market, because this is what's going to impact you in the future, right? I'm not sure the fields or areas of study among our students here today. So I'm not going to talk much sector specific, but once you graduate, you will be looking at a job market, and I think it's very useful for you to know in which direction this is developing. So there, basically, you can look at 3 different categories on how this trend towards digitalization is transforming the job markets. First, we have jobs that changed. If we look at, for example, the farmer or like in the agriculture industry, right? They're still overall working in the same working in the same field, but they are now, instead of being necessarily in the field, looking at the weather forecast or measuring the soil band, this now has a higher degree of technology involved. So you have a different or like a new skill set integrated into existing occupation. Right now in agriculture, you can use drones to measure crop health. You can use sensors to measure like the soil capacity. You can use actually AI to measure pesticide distribution and things like this. So even like formerly very traditional and let's say manual occupations are transforming and requiring a more digitized skill set. Then you have jobs that disappear. You have, for example, I think the garment industry is very heavily affected. If you had workers who all their life were very skilled in crafting garments, making sweatshirts, making t-shirts, jeans. These tasks now, through automatization, these jobs might have in some countries, in some cities, or for some companies, have completely disappeared. Now machines are doing these jobs. So you have jobs that are going completely out of existence. But that doesn't mean everyone is now out of a job and we do let the machines do our work. Unfortunately, that's not the case, or fortunately. This also creates new jobs. Either from the technological advancements, now you need people who can build the machines, who can program the machines, who can maintain the machines. You need, instead of people crafting garments, you need people designing garments or inserting that information into the machines, creating digital layouts of the garments and constructing clothing this way. So you have a new area, a whole new section of new jobs that are being created, or you have a completely new industries developing, like renewable energies. So now, over the past, I don't know, 20, 30 years, you have the job profile for renewable energy engineering. So it doesn't mean we're all going to be out of a job. It also doesn't mean we don't have to work anymore because robots can do everything. It just means we need to adjust what we do, what we can do, and make sure that we are ready for the trends and the impact that is going to happen in the future. So, but that's the question, right? We don't really know where things are going specifically. We don't know what skills are going to be required in 5 or 10 years necessarily. The only thing we know is that skills, the things we should be able to do, are changing quite fast and probably going to change even faster in the future. Looking 20 years back, you would have most likely people would have one occupation and working on this occupation for a big part of their life, right? And now it's more dynamic. It's quite a bit uncertain in terms of the future, and because we don't know how quick technology can impact skills needed by companies and the labor market. So this is our problem, right? We have much faster change in skills requirements. If you look at the industry, on average, companies estimate that workers, 40% of workers currently working will require reskilling of at least like a good amount of reskilling training, meaning to learn completely new skills or new jobs, usually more complex. And then basically all business leaders asked by the World Economic Forum also expect employees to pick up new skills on the job. So what can we do? Like, how can we make sure that we can pick these skills up? So this actually the consequence is that transversal skills are rising in demand quite quickly. Transversal skills means skills that enable you to be transversal, to figure out problems quite quickly, to be able to communicate. So as you can see on screen, these transversal skills are like critical thinking, analysis, problem solving, self-management, and being very responsible on your own. Active learning. So once you're done with your formal education, you're usually not done for your learning for your work. And flexibility. So these are becoming more and more important. And digital literacy and these baseline digital skills, which I mentioned before, are also part of this. So you need to have for yourself, you need to be very flexible and adaptable, and you need a good foundation working with technology. That's basically it. It sounds like a big task, but I think it's very possible, and actually it's quite fun because that means your work is also going to be a bit more challenging. And if you have a little bit of a drive and good self-management, you can actually do very impactful things, very interesting things. So overall, the message I want to convey here is it's very important to make use of training and engage with technology because it's important for students and future workers to stay up to date with any of the changes and continually develop your competencies. So when we talk about this, and then going now, that was a very general. I hope this set the stage a little bit of why we're talking about this today. What you can do is one key part is you can use digital tools to gain a competitive edge within the world of work. So you can use technology to stay flexible and stay versatile. When we talk about digital tools now, we talk about any kind of software application or even devices that uses digital technology to support or enhance various tasks or activities. There are 3 points here that are important. So in the future of work and your future job, probably efficiency is going to be key. You need to do more complex tasks, probably faster. Everything is accelerating. And you can, but that's not a problem because you can automate a lot of things. You can use software, you can use tools, things that enable you to actually get better and quicker results within your work. It's also important to know how to choose the right tool for the right task. Giving you very simple examples. If you want to create a nice data set and a table, and you need to do some calculations, of course you're going to use Excel, not Word, right? Even though you can use Word to create tables, but Excel is much better solution to do calculations. Or if you want to create a nice infographic, you would probably use Canva or maybe it's a PowerPoint or the Adobe suite, but you would not use Excel in that case. Or if you want to draft a newsletter, you probably want to use MailChimp and not Outlook. So while you can use most tools for a lot of things, you should be able to know to pick which tool for which task. And then the last point, usually, or there's a lot of information out there. You need to know how to learn, how to get new information, and where you can find this existing knowledge and use it to your advantage. How to use educational apps and educational resources to strengthen your use of digital tools. So that was a little bit of input. At this point, I want to ask you for if you have any questions. So let's try this out. If you have any questions so far, anything you already want me maybe to clarify, or maybe any kind of feedback, you can of course just raise your hand in the meeting and unmute your microphone, or you can scan the QR code or go to menti.com and enter it here. I'll wait for a minute. I drink some water. But also, if there are any questions or feedback from the teachers so far, would be happy to answer.
Ada yang mau tanya gak?
So actually, maybe I forgot to talk about this. I'm actually located in Bangkok, so right now the weather is very warm. In Germany, it's very cold right now. I think I haven't checked this week, but last week I know it was snowing and like -5 degrees, I think. But I haven't been to Germany in about a year. So yeah, but I think it should be snowing right now. It's still quite cold. I know a lot of my friends will go to Bangkok or go to Vietnam soon to get some warmer weather. Okay, in case there are no further questions, then I'll just continue with the presentation. Yeah. I think there might be some more. Okay, now I see them. Sorry, they're not on screen. So one question is how old I am. Thank you. I'm 31. And yeah, okay, I would say let's move on. This is not working as well as I hope. So let's talk about what actually, now it's probably getting a bit more interesting for you. Let's look at what digital tools are out there. These are, of course, not all of them, just to give you a little bit of input and some reference of what we're talking about. Just a heads up, in the next slide, I'm again using Mentimeter, and I'm going to ask you what digital tools you are currently using or which one you're familiar with. So just a heads up. But for now, overall, we can categorize these tools into four. We have four different categories based on use. The first one is communication and collaboration. So they help people communicate, collaborate better. Like we do today, WhatsApp, Twitter, Facebook, Zoom. Some of you might know Slack, which is quite familiar. You have Miro, which is like a shared whiteboard. You have MS Teams, but you have also let's Outlook or Google Mail. So anything that lets you, um, that helps you communicate and work with other people together better. Then you have knowledge. So this could be either in terms of actually storing data, like in the cloud, or you have also tools that enable you to access more knowledge. Things are, of course, everyone knows Google, any search engines. Now we have also ChatGPT, which I would put in there, which allows you to access a very curated amount of information. And I also included some of the online learning platforms, anything where you can access any learning, even certification. You have Khan Academy and Udacity, which are more in the IT or like programming related, but they offer actually, Coursera, they offer a very vast amount of training or lessons and things you can use to actually um, add on to your profile and gain additional skills. Then we have some apps for productivity, things that let you basically um, allow yourself to work better. So, work smarter, not harder. I think you're familiar with that. Anything that can improve your time management, can automate repetitive tasks for you, and therefore you can free up more time for other projects or other things to do. And you can also make sure that you yourself are more efficient in the way you do things. Um, there's a question in the chat. The main technology, used in management, education, and training in Germany. This actually varies very strongly depending on institution. I think the most common like learning management platform, for example, is Moodle still everywhere. But more and more, especially in vocational training, you have companies who like Festo Didactic, for example, who are providing really more advanced VR learning opportunities, or also virtual reality or augmented reality learning experience. Basically, anything that can replicate hands-on training in a digital framework, right? So yeah, I would say that. But still, you have like Moodle is very common. Yeah, and then again, like then it depends on the industry. So let's go towards the last category, efficiency. Efficiency tools are tools that can increase or decrease the time you spend doing certain tasks. This could be Excel for managing large data sets and calculation of like finance. That can be Word for writing text, right? I'm not sitting down at I could write everything down by hand and then scan it. I can do it with Word. Now I can calculate everything using just a regular calculator, or I can use Excel. I could draw a nice like presentation or by hand, whatever. But I use PowerPoint, right? So anything that really can make you complete a task faster. So the question now, as I mentioned, I would like to know from you, what digital tools are you currently using in your work and life? For this, you can again scan the QR code here, or just enter the code. You go to www.menti.com, and it will. You can have just type 1 or 2 or 3. You can type as many tools that you're using as you want. And maybe in the meantime, while we are waiting for the results, maybe I could ask one of the teachers, perhaps, what are you like? Do you have any? Have you discovered recently any recent tool or digital you're a fan of? For me, I'm a big fan of Quillbot, which I will explain later or show you a little bit. I'm not a native English speaker myself, so anything that can help me improve my writing and text is very useful. So any of the teachers present here today, yeah, do you have any tool you're a fan of? Canva. Yeah, that's actually, yeah, it's very, very helpful for me too. What are you using Canva for mainly? Feel free to unmute yourself, by the way, and talk with me.
Well, I like using Canva for my teaching. I use to design my slides, and for other than teaching, I use it for designing posters for any programs in the schools. So it helps me a lot, actually.
Are you using the free version, or do you have a license?
The license, the paid version.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
very good.
because it has so many features and tools that the free version doesn't have. So it's more fun that way.
Yeah, I agree. Like I like Canva a lot. It's very.
Yeah, everyone likes Canva.
Yeah. Thank you. Someone tried ChatGPT, I see. It's nice. Yeah. Later on, I will go into ChatGPT just a little bit. For those who are not familiar with it, I will talk about Quillbot and something called SendKit base. If you Let's see if you're familiar with that one. Okay, so we get a lot of input. I think Canva seems to be one of the more popular choices. Yeah. Maybe could I know from which study area most students are here today? That would be good to know. Hello? All right. Or Ms. Sydney, do you know which study areas are represented here today from our students?
Sorry?
Do you know which what the students here today are studying mainly? Which fields?
I see a lot of early childhood education students.
Okay.
And
And
electric student.
electric students, bakery and pastry students. I see my students here. Yeah.
All right, that's good. So quite a mix. Very
It's
good.
a mix.
That's very good to have. All right. So I hope still. Maybe how is it? Like, am I talking too fast, or
No,
is
no, no.
everything you can understand everything? Also.
No, you're okay.
All right. Thank you. All right. So the Trello. Actually, I'm not super familiar with. So someone in the chat asked the digital Trello. I'm actually not super familiar with Trello. I have not worked. It's basically, I think you can compare it to Slack if you're familiar with that. It allows teams to collaborate together. So it's it's a project management tool and team collaboration tool where you can share tasks. You work on the same documents. You can chat with each other. So it provides your team with a digital working space, basically. It's very helpful if you have. For example, I work a lot with people in. I'm sitting in Thailand, but I work a lot. I have a team in Vietnam. I have a team in Jakarta and in Brunei. So if you have like something like Trello that allows everyone to have like a virtual office space and working space, it's very helpful. But for Trello, have never worked with it personally. Okay. Yeah, it's actually so I'm going to present a similar tool later on. Um, Maybe we can look into that. So I think I would close the work now. I think okay, Google Meet, Canva, everything's moving, PowerPoint. So most of the like Microsoft Suite, Grammarly, and very interesting, and Pinterest. Okay, yeah, that's very good to know. Thank you for your input. Um, I asked about the free version because I also wanted to mention this. A lot of the tools, I think most of you know, a lot of the things we are using, the software we are using, um, are of course um, have a different kind of payment plans, but also most of them offer like a free version, which is very good for us. Um, Usually, when you look at any new tools, they have a pricing category. As a general rule, of course, we want to use open source software that's available for free and everyone can use because we want to be inclusive. But unfortunately and logically, a lot of the modern and good software as a service has advanced features that you have to pay for. Sometimes it's necessary if you really want to work more with it. I'm actually 95% of the time, the free version is enough, even in a professional context for me. There are very few tools I actually pay for. We have the example here. Mentimeter is what I just used for the work cloud. Here I also only use the free version. That's very important to know the limitations. So you can go to pricing, and there's a more advanced feature list, and you will see everything you can do within the free version. So you don't get surprised by suddenly there being a pop-up saying, please buy the pro version while you're in the middle of doing something, because that can get very frustrating. I know in the beginning, a few years ago when I started and also the software as a service products became more popular. I had this a lot where I started out using a very nice product, and then suddenly there was a payment wall uh, and then would get frustrated because I already had done all that work, but I didn't necessarily want to pay for like a year subscription for this. Now things are usually a bit more flexible, but again, it's um, very important to make sure you're aware of what's included in the free aspect, and be aware before you start working, so you don't do all that work and then you get, you know, uh, pushed into the decision to subscribe. Mm. The other point I wanted to make is, um, if you're using the free version, there's a saying that became popular over the recent years is, if you're not paying for a product then online, then you're probably the product. Meaning, oftentimes, if something is free, like a software is free, that means um, the user data, while anonymized, is still being used. which is overall not a problem, but you need to be aware of it. Usually, there are very little things that are for free in this. So it's either you're paying or your usage data is getting processed because companies, of course, want to make money. A lot of these tools also offer discounts for students, teachers, or overall people involved in education. This can be an advantage. So if you decide you look into a specific software, you say that's incredibly helpful for me personally or for my work, but maybe the school doesn't want to pay for it or the company doesn't want to pay for it. You can get a 50% discount. So keep an eye out for that, just as a side note. And then lastly, while we are already on here, I want to highlight that usually companies have, of course, a very high interest that you're using their products to the fullest potential. So every kind of software as a service has usually a very elaborate documentation, trainings, webinars on how to use their product the best. So you can maximize it, and then of course they want you to use all the features because they can charge more for more features. But it's still very helpful for us as users. You can educate yourself and really make sure that you are applying the tool how it's supposed to be and using all the features. There was a study recently that showed that probably what was it? I think about 80% of Excel users are only using like 15% of Excel features. When we use Word, we only use a very small amount of what Word can do in terms of working with text. But the tool itself can do so much more. Most people just don't know about. So make sure that you're really you're looking into what these different tools can do, and then this will make your life so much easier. So now we come to the warning point. Not really warning point, but with these new technologies comes a bit of responsibility, and and some things we want to watch out for, or at least be aware of. And also, overall, this is called the ethical use of AI and software. The first and most important one is you need to understand the limits of AI. So when we look at ChatGPT later, and whenever AI comes up, usually AI works because they receive input, right? Most AI is a trained language model, so they receive input through language and text. There are other models, so the models that get input through visuals, like images or videos, or like a trial and error approach. But overall, these are algorithms that learn patterns in relationship within large data sets and apply this to their information. So the bottom line here is that depending on what input AI receive, the output can be very biased. In the past, it has shown that AIs can turn very discriminatory, or in the worst case, or at least biased because they receive a certain amount of information and data from that is dominating. So of course, like most AI has a like an American or Western bias because this is where a lot of the technology is being developed. It's a lot of where the input is generated. So it's very important to recognize that AI is not infallible. It has limitations and biases on the data it was trained on. And as students, you need to learn about the potential limitations, and you need to especially critically evaluate the output. You need to make sure that it's accurate and unbiased. Don't take AI output as as gospel, as a truth. Always double check. Just recently, I asked ChatGPT to look up some recent publications for my work, and it gave me some very good sounding publication. But actually, it turned out the publication did not exist. So I don't know where they came from, but it was nonsense. So you need to be aware of it. Then number two, you need to use AI and software responsibly. You need to make sure that you highlight when you use AI, for example, as a writing assistant. You need to make sure to credit any sources. You need to make sure to avoid plagiarism, especially as students. When you use AI, don't use AI to substitute your work. You cannot let AI do your job and relax. Um, you want to use it as a tool to make yourself more efficient and learn faster and be better in work and life. Right? It's going to make your life easier, definitely, but it's not going. You don't want to be replaced by AI, right? So you still need to make sure you learn. You need to double check the outcomes of the AI, and you need to especially be smart in providing good input to the AI. Because you only get good results if you can formulate what you want the AI to do very specifically. Yeah. So the other three ones are going to be a bit shorter. You need to protect your personal data. So obviously, AI or any kind of software is collecting your personal data in a way, depending on what you put in for AI. But privacy and data privacy is a big topic. Even the most secure companies can have a data breach, and then your personal information could be used for mispurposed. So just be aware of that. Be aware what data information you share with AI. Of course, also don't share personal data of others with AI. So yeah, you need to be careful about that. You need to consider any software you choose should be preferably open source. If you work with other people, make sure they have the same access to software and technology. And lastly, I think I covered this already. While we work with AI or software now, we don't know how this will look in 5 years. So you need to continuously learn, improve. You need to keep yourself updated about the latest technologies, what to do, what not to do, how to handle it, and continuously improve these your skills in these areas. So that was the ethical use of AI and software, and now we are going to have a quiz. And we're going to use Mentimeter, but in this case, I need to change something. Just give me a second. So this quiz, you will see the QR code. Excuse me. This might take a second here. I will stop sharing my screen. I'm sorry for the hiccup. Okay. So just give me 1 second, please. So so for the quiz, the rules are so there will be 5 questions. You will have 1 minute per question to answer, and the faster you will answer, the more points you get. It's a multiple choice, but there's actually each question only has one right answer. So you have 4 options, only one right answer. And then there's going to be a leaderboard. There's going to be a winner. I don't have any prize. You cannot win anything. Maybe your teachers can give you something. But yeah, there's no. All right. So to enter, now we can start. Can you see the QR code on screen? So now I cannot see anyone anymore. So you just let me know whether you see the QR code or not. Yeah, okay.
Yes, we see it clear.
All right. I leave it on for a second so everyone can join. If you, yeah. Okay, we see we have currently 8 players. I'll wait until we have 50 people in the meeting right now, so let's wait for a bit longer. I just put on the QR code again. So in the meantime, maybe I just go through the rules again. So you will see a question on screen. There will be a countdown, and then you have 1 minute to find the right answer. There's 4 options, but only one right answer. I don't think it's super difficult, so let's see. But the quicker you answer, the more points you get. 11, 12, okay. Let's wait a bit more. Oh, it's getting less now. Only 13. Does anyone have any trouble accessing? Hmm? Okay. I would say let's start so we don't not gonna have any overtime, or do you need some? Is anyone still trying to join? Okay, I would say let's start. Okay. So the first question: what is the potential impact of sharing personal information with AI tools? And 1 minute. At the bottom, you can see on your phone you can see the. Okay, everyone has voted. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, the potential impact is, of course, you are exposing your personal information to corporations, which is okay, but also you need to be aware of that, but also to cyber criminals. So in case there's a data breach, um, your data is out there, your information is out there. There could be identity theft, many things. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Number 2, 19 players, perfect. Okay. So what is one of the most significant ethical concerns with AI? Okay, let's see the results. Everyone has voted. And exactly, yeah, perfect. It's often biased. I mentioned before, AI relies on the data that's accessible. It's They are trained models, so depending on the data input, um, is impacting the data output. And because the data input is often biased already, so the output is also biased. All right, let's move on. Question number 3. Nice, we're getting more players. All right, let's start with the third question. What is one way students can contribute to a more equitable technological landscape? All right, let's see the answer. Oh, okay, perfect. We're getting better. So exactly, selecting open source software for collaborative work. Make sure that we don't leave anyone behind. Make sure that everyone uh, can be included in our technological landscape. All right. Question number 4. How can students ensure responsible use of AI and software? Only one right answer. All right, let's see. Very curious about that one. Oh, it's wait a second. Oh, I think I made a mistake. I'm very sorry. Actually, the right answer is answer number D. Critically evaluate the output of AI software for accuracy and fairness. But I'm very sorry. I think I selected the wrong answer as right. Lucky there are no prizes to win, so uh, but I'm very sorry. But the one person who picked that, I guess, gets some bonus points. But I can see a lot of you choose protect their personal data from AI software, which is kind of correct. You want to make sure that your personal data is overall secure. But we're asking here about the responsible use of AI software. And this, while personal data privacy is, of course, a concern, the real responsibility lies in um, evaluating the output of AI and software. Um, so here that means yeah, make sure that you're using it to be more productive and not to substitute yourself, and also make sure that everything, like, don't take everything at face value. But very sorry about uh, the right answer. Let's take question number 5 and hope everything is correct here. So, what is one way students can avoid negative impact when using AI and software? Perfect. I kind of gave you the answer already in my last explanation, I think. But yes, use AI software as a tool, not as a substitute. It's very important. I cannot highlight that enough. We don't want to stop thinking, just want to think better and more efficiently. So let's see who our winner is. We have. Oh, it's very close. Ah, okay, not that close actually. Yowie. I don't know who that is, but congratulations. Maybe we can see from the meeting. Just raise your hand. But
Who is
also,
Yaoi?
who is this?
Who is Yaoi? Can you raise your hand, Yaoi? Or unmute yourself to introduce yourself. Congratulations.
All right. Maybe I'll let you figure out who that is. And congratulations to Yowie. Well done. And then let's continue with the presentation here, okay? Okay, are we back to seeing my presentation screen? Yeah, okay. All right, we only have 20 minutes. I think I've been talking for a bit too long. I still want to show you at least two of these three. I prepared some examples. One would be ChatGPT as the use case as a research for the research information, as a personal assistant, language translation, and to generate new content. So what I'm using ChatGPT for mostly is to draft like general emails for me, which is very helpful, or to research information on a certain topic. I used ChatGPT, for example, to structure speeches or presentations like here today, or generate, something. I have not tried the language translation feature actually, so I'm curious how that works and maybe how helpful this might be for you. I don't know how good and accurate it is. Number two, we have Quillbot, which makes your English texts better. It's also using AI. It helps with paraphrasing, summarizing, or proofreading. I mainly use it for paraphrasing and proofreading if I want to have a nice, like a news article or anything, or overall my written text to make them sound better. And then we have ZenKit Base, which is I use personally for daily task management, project management, and collaboration with others. So these three I want to show you. I think we only have 20 more minutes. Is that right, Mrs. Sydney?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Then let's look at, I think, is ChatGPT the most interesting one for everyone? Maybe you can write in the chat which one you would like to look at. Okay, one for ChatGPT. All right, then let's before we waste any more time, let's look at ChatGPT. All right, just allow me for 1 second again. Okay, transition. And share my screen with you. So, for those who are not super familiar with ChatGPT, there have been some quite trendy over the past, I would say, year. ChatGPT is a language trained AI system, and it can be quite useful for many different applications. So to demonstrate what it can do, please. Sorry, something is not working as intended. Just give me please one second to fix this. It's always great. You can still see the ChatGPT, right? Okay. So, what can ChatGPT do? Basically everything. You can see it here on screen. I hope the text is large enough for you to read it. Is that the case? Can you see what it says under capabilities, for example?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So the URL is chat.openai.com. So it's more than a chatbot. So let's ask it, for example, provide me with tips on how to prepare for a job interview, such as what questions do you expect and how to dress professionally. Like this, if you're preparing. So it will give you a actually, for me, it has been incredibly helpful because it's much better than what you can get from Google. I oftentimes use it as a very advanced feature from Google, a very advanced Google version, basically. So where you don't have to Google for something and then filter through the top results, but here you get a summarized and condensed version, very clear structured of information. So I'm not going to read everything out, but you can see that you will get very detailed information and very helpful steps. So another example, what you could do is let's ask ChatGPT what the latest technology trends in agriculture in Malaysia are and which skills are needed the most. So you will get the answer that will show you precision farming, robotics and automation, Internet of Things, blockchain, artificial intelligence. And then ChatGPT will also elaborate a bit on what skills are needed. So like data analysis, programming, robotics. Now, this is very superficial, right? So let's ask actually which technical skills are actually needed for precision agriculture, or precision farming. So now you get actually more insights. You need geographic information systems, remote sensing, data analysts, and so on. So now, as someone who might be interested in that field, right? We want to know. So actually, where can I gain these skills? Like, what are some free online resources where I can gain those skills? So they would suggest any like online, edX, data camp. So now in 5 minutes, you learned what are the technological trends in a certain sector. You learn what skills are needed in that sector, and you learn where you can actually acquire those skills online. You can also ask any of those free, and then it will ChatGPT will also elaborate with one of those. Those are maybe I planned that you will have time to explore ChatGPT for yourself, but considering the time, maybe we have to skip that part. But is there any queries from your side which you would be interested in me asking ChatGPT? So maybe from the teachers you would like to know something, or from the students. If not, then I would head over to the next tool. But I think so. Yeah. You see the chat? Yeah. So I see there was one input useful for students when they do research, but it's, yeah, what I mentioned before, like don't when you as students use this, you can use it in a way use it to be more efficient, right? You still need to learn the output, right? You need to still make sure that you remember everything. You don't want to just copy paste it, and you want to make sure that you learn while using this, that you understand, you follow up, and really, I think use it as a better version of Google would be my message. This can provide you with very precise and very helpful information and data very efficiently. I can. You could also. I did this myself. I did this actually for today's lesson. As a teacher, you can also ask for suggestions on how to structure like speeches or classes on a certain topic. You can ask for any and maybe any new methods or any like student activities to engage students. I'm using it a lot actually. It made things a lot easier for me. But let's move on to the next tool, and that's Quillbot. So Quillbot, as I mentioned, is a paraphrasing tool, and you can. I think the link has been posted in the chat. You can access it there, or you can just also look at the screen with me. So what you can see here, so a little bit, you will have in the free version you have two modes: standard, fluency, and if you then the premium paid versions are even a bit more elaborate. You can also indicate how many synonyms you want to use. So a few changes, more accurate, or more changes, less accurate, but new suggestions. So let's try. I prepared a short text about digital skills becoming more important in today's job market. Let's use it to paraphrase, and you can see. All right, so here you have a lot of changes to make the text a bit more shorter and better, more fluent, and more readable. So you can see which words have been changed. The yellow ones are structural changes to the sentence, and then we also have the views of the unchanged words. You can also look for different suggestions, so you can expand your vocabulary while using this. And for me, it's really helpful because I catch myself using the same phrases or same words often when I write. So to get some additional input, like what could be better words, how to phrase things better, is really nice. And the good thing here is you still need to do the work. You're still going to learn. I think it will improve your English a lot if you use this because it's not perfect. Um, Oftentimes, or not often, but quite frequently. Um, so I need to check every text that's being translated. I never just copy pasted the result. Everything, because sometimes meaning gets. It always depends on how good your text is you put in. So if your input is not good, the output might need some adjustment too. But it's a very good step in between. You always should make sure though that you critically assess the text that you get here. But overall, it's really, really good. It's a really helpful tool for me, and just for even just spell checking, it's good. Yeah. I'm not sure if I missed any questions from the chat. Was there any input? Okay. Good. Then the last one. We're coming to an end. Here, let's see if you're interested in that. So this is called ZenKit Base. You can access it through base.zenkit.com. Zoom in a bit. And this I use for managing my personal tasks. So either like during my work, or I prepared some examples how it could look like if you're planning, in this case, a mission to Mars, like space mission. But you can do this, of course, for any reports, any student projects. If you do in your actually not quite the right link. This one. So ZenKit overall, they have many different. I'm not going to get into it. I just want to introduce the base because I think this is more for students, for your personal. Like if you do anything, you can use it, and it looks nice and it's easy to use. So let's look at the tasks for the space mission. So what I did here is called a Kanban board. You have to-dos, in progress, and done, right? And then you have in the horizontal, this part. And then in the vertical, you have the priority, high, medium, low, or no importance. So if you plan a mission to fly to Mars, you want to secure, of course, water, air, food. You want to build a spaceship, fuel tanks. So you can structure these things. You want to choose a nice menu for the flight. You want to find a good crew. So you can track all your tasks and how this could look like. Let's say we talk about the food. You have this task here. You can set a new date, the state it's in, importance. You can all just indicate it here. You can even collaborate with others, so you can assign more people to the task if it's like a group project, and even create like sub items, so small steps you need to complete before the overall task is ready, and you can get like dependencies. It can be very complex if you wanted to, but overall the general use is very easy. So if you want to create like a new task, you just do this, and say if you want to pick some music for flight, and now you have a new task, right? And it shows up, put the say due date in here for next week. I want to have it picked. It's very high importance, and it's from currently say to do. And then I could add a dependency if I want to do this. So you have this. You can organize yourself in that way for any, like as I mentioned, any schoolwork. You can do it for your personal work. If you want to make it even like as a project management tool, you have different kind of views. You can look at it as a calendar view to see when which task is due. You can, I think mind map probably will not do much here, but as a chart where you can see like the different tasks that are completed, including the dependencies. So you need to find crew, train the crew, build the spaceship, build the fuel tanks, test anything, start the mission, build the stations, secure water, air, and certification, and then establish. So, and this is all what everything you see here. It's free. There is, of course, a paid version with more features, but overall, I like it a lot. For me personally, just to organize myself. You can even do more, have a different, if you want to, documents. So it's really versatile. I think explaining it more would take up too much time now, but overall, I'm a big fan of it. So I hope it was this somewhat insightful for you, and you've I hope these tools are applicable for you, or you can use them. As I mentioned originally, I had also included like half an hour for you to explore these on your own and give some feedback. But seeing we only have 5 minutes left, I hope you have time to explore these on your own later, or maybe together with your teacher. And lastly, I really want to highlight again that you should definitely not misuse these tools. Don't. It will make your life easier. I know I sound like a broke, so it makes your life easier, but make sure that you're still learning. This is very, very important, and I think also very important to your teachers. So yeah, I'm not going to go into my presentation again. I think since we're already at the end, just my last words, final words to you. So just to summarize it, this and knowing how to navigate this, knowing how to explore new tools, understanding what the right tool is for which task you have to do. Is very important, is going to be very important throughout your future life. I know when I started working, things were very manual. By now, I could not do my work without my laptop. I'm only working on my laptop, which also has its drawbacks. But I know like, the future of work is going to be digital, most likely to a certain degree. We're not all going to work in a virtual space, but there in every area there will be technological things that will make your work better. At the same time, we need to be aware that software is just a tool. Like we don't need to shoehorn any solution into a task that can be more easily done by hand or in a more manual way. Software or technology is not the final goal. It's just a tool to achieve a certain outcome more effective. And then lastly, be responsible. I think I said it enough. Use it responsibly and smartly. And I think that's it. I was hoping again to have a bit more engagement with you. Sorry for talking so much. I hope it was interesting to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Schaeffer, for the most insightful and thank you again for the knowledge about digitalization and technology and AI and how and why we should use it ethically. And I'm sure that teachers and students who are present here right now in this masterclass will be able to utilize the knowledge that they have received today. So thank you so much for that. Yes, so the link for the certificate has been included in the messages. So before we go, are there any in the audience that would like to say anything? Oh, yes. All right. Before we leave, Mr. Schaeffer.
Thank you, Mr. Ansgar.
Yes, thank you.
I
Thank
hope,
you, Mr. Ansgar.
I hope what I shared is not old news to you.
It was very insightful. It was very insightful, and it's suitable for all ages. So before we go, everyone, before we go, shall we take a picture? Shall we take a picture together? I need you to open your camera. Let's take a picture together. Let's open your camera, everyone. Okay, everyone ready? Okay, I think everyone is ready. Okay, let's take a picture together. Everyone smile. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that concludes our masterclass for today. Thank you again, Mr. Ansgar. And thank you to everyone who have participated. Don't forget. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir.
Bye. Thank you,
Thank you,
Miss.
sir.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you,
Bye,
Miss.
everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Salam
you.
Jerman.
Thank you for listening.
You can.
Thank you, Sydney.
Yeah, and yes, thank you, Ms. Sydney, for the moderation. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. Don't forget to,
Thank you,
don't forget to
everyone.
fill in the form. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.